Hey everyone, Ryview's here, and welcome to my review of Great Explosion Murder Demigod! Or, Bakugo. You know, everyone's favorite character. Alright, starting off, let's look at this package. This is the new S.H.Figuarts Bakugo. I mean, it's his cool update design. I kinda had to get him. Look at this, man, he looks so cool. The box has all the details you need, some cool shots. The bottom, I think, is not the same as the top. Okay. You can kind of see, you know, MHA, some side shots. Pretty nice. Alright, let's open him up. Super action! Alright. Wait. And sliding him out. As you can see, there is an orange backing, and just to make sure, because SHF has been doing this, they stick the instruction booklet behind the backing. That is really weird, and I probably have lost a few backings to that one. Alright, here are the instruction booklets. It tells you all of his option parts and how to put everything and survey whatever things I can't read, because again, I don't speak Japanese or read kanji. Looking at the plate that he comes in, you have 4 extra face plates, and just, this is a full package, looking real nice. So let's pop this bad boy out. Jeez. Alright, looking real nice. Okay. First impressions. And let's get this off of him. The one little piece they usually all come with. Joints feel nice and tight, nothing feels stuck, head moves nice. Alright, does he pass the joint test? Do both joints pass the joint test? Yes! So, first impressions, look at that paint. That is, oh, there's an itty bitty spot right there. Okay, well not too noticeable. Paint looks really nice for the most part, clean, bright, colorful, looking okay. This figure looks amazing. I'm not sugarcoating it, it looks amazing. Basically, the design is far darker, far edgier, and I think it fits Bakugo once he's serious later in the series. Granted, I haven't watched far enough to... Wait, no, I have watched far enough to see the new suit. What is this, the winter suit? It looks so nice. And if you compare it to the Figma, I'll do size comparisons later. This definitely feels like an older, more aged up version, but also, like, this is just a more serious design. But at the same time, you can tell this is more summery compared to more clothing, more wintry. Definitely a darker color scheme overall, but really close, really cool. But yeah, this version of Bakugo is great for figures. And just look at all that detail. Now, there are some paint blemishes, some weird black spots there. And I have some issues, like this is floating. I wish it tabbed into something, because now it just kind of jiggles whenever you move the figure, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, detail-wise, really good. The silver paint pops, the orange pops. Look at those circles. They are super clean, and just all the joints look really well sculpted, except for like this. That looks a little weird, but overall, the joints are really well hidden, really well sculpted, and yeah, I am just impressed by the look of this figure. So far, my only problem with the figure is similar to that of Deku's, and that it's really annoying to readjust the hand because it has that swivel hinge system, but you basically can't get enough downward clearance to just move it from here. Instead, you just end up moving the ball joint, and it's just a little bit annoying. Alright, well, speaking of that, let's get on to... Starting off, we have a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, and then another ball joint at the bottom of the neck, plus a hinge joint that allows him to look down that far and up that far, and obviously side to side, and not full 360 hindered by the hair. Now, moving down, ignoring the gappiness there, we have a full rotation at the shoulder, ball joint in the shoulder, and then an extra hinge joint that allows you to go up really far, way past the T-pose. And then, of course, you have a bicep swivel, full 360 there, and then a double jointed elbow. Not the best because it's hindered by the grenade launcher, but that is unfortunate, but still good. Then this moves up and down. I don't know why. It doesn't extend it. Okay, this also has a full 360 degree turn, and then once again there is a swivel hinge at the wrist and also a ball joint at where the hand connects to the wrist. Moving on to the torso, we got a dumbbell joint there, which allows you to crunch back. Let me move this back. Crunch back like this, and then crunch forward this much just from that ball joint. Then you get into the ball joint at the waist, and you can crunch this far forward and this far backwards. Then this is a floating piece, which allows you to get pretty decent splits. Not great. This is like Marvel Legends level splits. Unfortunately, the legs attached via a ball joint, which attaches into a hinge, which is how you get this outward motion, but there's also a ball joint right there. Then you have double bending knees, double jointed knees, and then of course a 360 thigh swivel, really nice. Then of course you have a calf swivel, basically perfectly hidden, and then foot moves up that far, down that far, and is on a ball joint, so can twist, turn, pivot, whatever. And then of course toe joint, gotta love those toe joints. Oh, and each grenade is on its own little ball joint. So, ball joint, ball joint, ball joint, ball joint. A lot of ball joints. And of course, these are on their own little ball joints as well. Just for attaching, they're not that movable, but they are on ball joints. And you can get them into some really cool poses. All the joints are solid. This is a great figure. Pretty much hand candy. Though as far as joints go, S.H.F probably has the best feeling joints in the business, in my personal opinion. And before we move on to accessories, I want to mention that the mask reportedly is painted, meaning it has paint rub onto the faceplates if you're not careful. Which, if that's the case, why did they paint it? It's literally just a black part. I'm pretty sure most of the other black on this figure isn't painted. So I don't know, why would they paint something that is going to be actively rubbing against another part? That just... Hopefully I don't get paint rub on mine, so let's see. And here's everything he comes with. First, let's take off his head and replace it with the alternate head. To do that, first you have to remove the front hairpiece because you don't get a second one. Here's a good look at his neutral face, and then you get only one normal non-masked face for him, which you can then just plug onto here, put on the front hairpiece, there we go, nice and spiky, and yeah, that is Bakugo. I mean, yeah, that looks like him, though it is kind of weird to have him in his superhero costume, but not have, not have the spikes and stuff. But yeah, his normal hair, normalness. It would be really interesting to see if his head fits on the new Okaroon that's coming out, because he has pretty much just a standard Japanese uniform, or school uniform, and if these heads fit on that, then you could basically do an in-class or episode 1 Bakugo. But unlike the Figma, this is actually made of a softer plastic and not a pure hard plastic, so it's not as pointy and sharp when you touch it. It's still basically like holding a prickly porcupine though, and I bet if you step on this, it would hurt you more than it would break the figure. Open mouth smiling face. Actually, I'm just gonna keep his head decapitated because, well, you can't really see it behind the mask, so, really good detail. Angry face, with the little lines on the side of the eyes to make him look mildly crazy. And finally, a smiling face / grinning face. Really nice, shows his confidence, really cool. And I think I will keep his smiling, yelling face as his main face, at least on my copy of the figure. And while I don't have it yet, he does have accessories in that accessory pack that'll be coming out, and this is the extra part that I used to cover up the back. Thought that would count as an accessory. Let's move on to, hey, he has no hat! He has one pair of fists, left and right. He has a set of open palm hands, really nicely painted, really cool, like with the fingers going up slightly. That is nice and cool. And then he has slightly grabby fingers, looking all nice and neat. And then finally, for hands, he has these gripping peg hands, which actually is for the explosive pieces. Look at these. These look great. They're glowing in the light. Let's just tab these. And how do you do that? I think here is how. No, yes? Close enough. So yeah, you just basically use these pins to plug in the explosions, and that looks great. Yeah, so these effect parts, very similar to the ones that the Figma came with, and I think it's basically a requirement for every single Bakugo to come with explosives. I think they're also just regularly useful explosives too, so that is nice. But again, the hand is very poor clearance. The peg, the swivel hinge is a little difficult to get, which makes attaching these a little bit annoying. Size comparison time. Here he is next to Figma Bakugo and Mafex Classic Spider-Man, S.H.Figuarts Tanjiro, and S.H.Figuarts Okaroon. Your explosions are cool, man. Of course, I'm gonna be the #1 hero. SHF Deku and Revoltech Aizawa. I would show Mirako, but my figure broke. Yeah, even though she was one of my favorites. And finally, the Revoltech Ochaku and the Robot Spirits Damashi Galgoog. And yeah, these two look great together. Though it's a shame you can't really see his mouth because of the mask, and that is really unfortunate. However, yeah, looks great. While I overall love this figure, he still has some definite problems, like the mask not allowing his face to be fully shown, or the annoying process of moving the wrist pegs. Though not as bad as it breaking like it did with Deku. Ooh, that was a little annoying and scary to move that one. Overall, this is a great figure and I highly recommend him, even though he is a bit pricey. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let's get on to the poses.